Medina, here in Amsterdam at Rush Hour Records, getting ready for our in-store on December 8th, which is the day after my birthday. Here representing my party, Jump N Funk, and beautiful new compilation we just put out on BPE Records called Jump N Funk Volume 1. And a couple records that really represent the brand to me. First being Fela Kuti, Waka Waka. Many of us think of Fela Kuti and they think of Fela Kuti and Africa 70 or Egypt 80, but this is Fela and Kula Lobitos, which was well before he organized Africa 70 and Egypt 80. So this is a very, very young Fela, just as he was coming into his Black Power messaging. So to be able to find a copy of this record for myself 10 years ago is incredible. If I told you any more, I'd have to kill you. Roland Orchestra, play up, and my pronunciation is shit, but Rizmis de Caribis, I believe that's how you say it. But this is a record that was pressed in Paris. Roland Orchestra is a notorious African dance band from West Africa, and this record was very, very hard to come by. I was first turned on to this record by Casey the Funkaholic. He let me borrow it for a year, and I fell in love. I didn't want to give it back. I finally gave it back to him, and the day I gave it back to him, he handed me my own copy. And this was gifted to me from one of my favorite DJs on the planet. Fela Kuti and Ginger Baker, picture sleeve from the Path Marconi in Paris. Egg Bemio, Chop and Quench from the Fela Kuti and Ginger Baker live album. For those who don't know, Ginger Baker is a drummer for a group called Cream. Ginger Baker drove a Range Rover from North Africa all the way across the Sahara Desert to West Africa to engage himself in West African drum culture. He ended up becoming a tribal member, almost a tribal chief, paid oceans of dues in West Africa, and then was finally granted the opportunity to meet Fela. Shortly after meeting Fela, they made the Fela Kuti Ginger Baker live album, and this is the 7-inch off of that album. Open hole 7-inch, which is somewhat rare coming from Africa, or coming from Paris, coming from Europe in general more often than not. As an American, in my experience, you see close hold 7 inches coming from this side of the world. But Regal Zonophone 7-inch, these two mad scientists, is one of my most prized possessions. Frank Bion and the Afro-Electric Orchestra featuring Melissa James. The tune on this is called We Shall Overcome. Frank Bion is a very good friend of mine, a guitarist from West Africa who lives in Paris. And this record, for me, represents a modernization of Fela Kuti's disposition with Afrobeat, taking all the rhythm section sensibilities, all the distinction in Fela Antoniano's presentation and modernizing it in a very beautiful way. And one of my favorite new Afrobeat records to this day. It's roughly, when did this come out? It came out in 2003, so this record is 13 years old at this point, but still, for the sake of Fela's time versus current, this is one of my favorite new Afro records. I'm surprised it's not scratched to death because I played the shit out of it. This record, Senegal, Desiree Mozambique and his band. I have no fucking idea what this record is or any info on it, but I got it at a dollar bib in Paris. And when I bought it, I thought the dealer made a mistake because it's a fucking incredible record. And yeah, this is my cheapest steal of all of my African treasured records. And that's it.